So trills. I have a lot of friends that hate trills because it's kind of hard. They say that their fingers don't move fast enough. And so I guess today I'm going to try to explain how I do trills. And I don't know if this is orthodox or not, but this is just the way that I do my trills. So when you do a trill, there's a bottom note and a top note. And so what I first do, let's say I'm going to do a B on my first finger on the A string, and C sharp, second finger. And I want to trill those. Okay, so what I try to do is I try to get my hand into a very relaxed, comfortable position. Again, with that little hole where you can see, well, I guess you can't really see it. I might be able to see the camera just barely through this hole. There we go. So I have a little hole holding my violin up with my left hand. If you watch my other videos, I explain a little bit about why or how I hold up my violin and why I do it. But for the purposes of this video, put your first finger down, just rest it down so that you're feeling gravity, just a nice comfortable position, so your arm is resting. And then you put your second finger down, and what I'm doing is I'm just letting my finger start from up here and then fall down onto the string, and then bring it back up and fall down. Okay, so then now only do it about halfway up that high. So I was doing what I was first doing is I'm extending my middle finger all the way up and then bringing it down, all the way up, bringing it down, getting that feeling of the full finger motion. Now I'm going to halve that, meaning H-A-L-V-E, meaning make it in half. So only go halfway. Okay, and then I'm going to go halfway between those two, that much, so only this much. And then halfway there. Then you about got it. So you go from full to half to quarter to about eighth. So I'm doing it, I'm only lifting my finger about an eighth of the way to where it would be fully extended. So, sorry. Okay, that's halfway. Now I'm going to go quarter way. Now I'm going to go an eighth of the way. And if you're really adventurous, you can go even a 16th of the way, or a 32nd. I'm just kidding, I don't know. I don't know if that's a 32nd or not. But the point is, if you can get your finger to do it in a big motion, you can teach it to mimic that big motion, which is pretty easy to do. You mimic that at half, quarter, and eighth, and then possibly 16th, 32nd, whatever you can do. And in that way, you're training your finger how to move up and down at a fast rate. So do the same thing with my what's this, ring finger. So I go up. I can't even get it extended. I guess it's kind of hard to get your finger totally extended, but so I'll just do it halfway to start. Okay, now I'm going to go quarter. Okay, and then eighth. 16th. Okay, and those speeds do correspond. Let's say if you take a quarter note and an eighth note, a quarter note is twice the length of an eighth note. So when you're doing it from half the distance to quarter distance, the quarter distance should be twice as fast as the half distance. So versus, you hear that? So now let's talk about the fourth finger, which is the hardest one for me anyways. Okay, here's a little trick that I do. And you'll have to talk to your teacher to see if this is legit or not, because I don't know. Listen to your teacher first before you listen to me. This is just an idea you can maybe play with. Okay, so when I go for the fourth finger, for the other fingers I've pretty much kept my thumb in the same position, about first position. Now when I bring my fourth finger down, I'm going to do a couple things. One, I'm going to bring my elbow underneath to the right of my violin just a little bit, so that my hand, what it does is it rounds itself over this way, so that my pinky's closer to the fingerboard. And then, another little trick that I just sort of figured out is I bring my thumb just a little bit forward, and what that does is now my pivot point, instead of being where my first finger is, where it's really easy to trill here, now I'm moving the pivot and moving my elbow underneath so that my finger's turning in, and my thumb is helping my finger anchor a little bit better. So now if I do, see, pinky at half distance, and obviously my intonation is not very good. I got to find a different spot where it feels more comfortable. It wasn't comfortable when I was just doing it, so I'm going to have to find a spot. Maybe bring my thumb back a little bit. Okay, that's better. So I brought my thumb over a little bit too much for the the demonstration, so probably a little bit more towards here. This is for my hand frame, and your hand's probably a different shape than mine is, different finger lengths and those kinds of things. So you have to experiment a little bit, but right about here, so just barely forward, that's where my pinky still feels comfortable with the note. Okay, so I'm going half, now I'm going to go quarter. Okay, and your hand should be pretty relaxed. My first finger, for whatever reason, kind of looks funny when I do that. It feels like it might be a little slanted or something. Yeah, it looks a little slanted. It's not stressed though, and it's still flexible. It just ends up looking kind of funny, but see if I can do it in the 16th. Okay, that needs a little bit of work. I guess I have to practice my 8th a little bit more. And I'm feeling the tension right about here in my bicep, which is good because it's a big muscle, and so it's not going to wear out as fast as, say, this little baby muscle here. So making a lot of the work happen down here as opposed to here. So. Okay, give that a try.